You were just a turd out there.
Welcome back to Banging the Can, the Houston sports show that does not apologize for championship rings and tings, with new episodes dropping weekly, presented by Bolen Media. I am Ross Bolen, and man, what a miserable letdown that was. What a fantastic season, marred by an absolutely brutal ending. I think what makes it so frustrating is it was the exact same shit we worried about all season long that eventually led to the downfall. Same story all season. Defense is so dominant that they give you a chance to win every game. Offense, just not good enough. And in this case, the offense was missing too many key pieces for the unit as a whole to overcome what is beginning to look like a lack of skill at the quarterback position. But man, the greatest defense in franchise history, with a backup QB in Denver standing between you and the Super Bowl if you find a way to win this game. And they should have won this game. But the offense gave it away. They gave it away. It was right there for the taking. It was right there. Drake May was a fumbling mess himself. The defense was dominant. We had it. The Texans gave up less sacks, 3-5, had a higher offensive success rate, 31.9% to 30.6%, had more first downs, 16 to 13, converted more third downs, 41.2% to 21.4%, and had only 7 less total yards than the New England Patriots. Of course, it never felt this way because of all the turnovers, all 5 of them, and that's why this one hurts so much, man. It was probably the easiest path to the Super Bowl we will ever have as a franchise. Number 1 defense, no Patrick Mahomes, no Josh Allen, no Lamar Jackson, no Joe Burrow. Broncos starting a backup QB in the AFC Championship game, and CJ Stroud throws 5 interceptions and fumbles the football 5 times. It's truly unfathomable. It's unbelievable how this unfolded. So 0-7 in the divisional round all time as a franchise. And still the only team in the NFL to never have reached a conference championship. Not the ending we wanted. CJ Stroud is the first player with 5 or more interceptions and 5 or more fumbles in a single postseason. 7 turnovers in 2 playoff games from CJ. We only played 2 games, and he's the first player ever, with 5+ interceptions and 5+ fumbles in a single postseason. We played 2 games, resulted in 7 turnovers in 2 games from CJ Stroud. All you had to do was not turn the ball over, dude. That's all you had to do. That's all you had to do all season long. And you couldn't get it done when it mattered most. And there's going to be a lot said this offseason about CJ Stroud, obviously. There's already been a lot said. I'm going to say a lot more today. But there are certain things that are so damning that they're impossible to debate. And becoming the first player ever with 5+ interceptions and 5+ fumbles in a single postseason is tough to debate. How do you argue with that? How do you defend that? I don't know. CJ Stroud's 28.0 QB rating is the NFL postseason's worst since Brian Hoyer's 15.9 QBR in the 2015 wildcard game. Guess who Brian Hoyer was starting for? That's right. The Houston Texans. Oh my God. It's so tough to imagine how we're still dealing with the same fucking problem as a franchise, which is it's QB play. And I know it's the NFL, and maybe this is every team's issue. And frankly, you look across the league, and quarterbacks have been struggling in this postseason. There's turnovers left and right all over the place from a lot of guys that you wouldn't expect it from. But I don't know how you defend what just unfolded, considering the circumstances. I don't know how. And it's not just me. It's not just a bunch of fans on their couches sitting here pretending like we know what we're talking about. There's Super Bowl winning MVP Hall of Fame quarterbacks commenting on this shit. Kurt Warner on Twitter said, and I quote, "I haven't been able to rectify the QB I saw as a rookie with the guy I've seen the last couple years. So calm and efficient, made so many good decisions and looked effortless. Then a panicked, erratic QB that just doesn't seem to see it at all. I can't explain it from the tape," end quote. Here's Troy Aikman, live on TV at the end of that game. Quote, "CJ Stroud has been chasing his rookie success for the last 2 years. He's not been the same player. We've not seen the development from him. There's a reason for that, and it has to be addressed. Now, I don't know what the reason for that necessarily is. We'll get to that in a bit. But the fact is, there's a lot of defenders of C.J. Stroud bringing up the O-line, bringing up the injuries, bringing up the drop balls, this, that, the weather, how Drake May performed by comparison. But then there are dudes who did this for a living and had a ton of success looking at C.J. Stroud and saying, yeah, that's not it. So it hurts. It hurts wondering if Davis Mills starts this game, do we win? And it sucks wondering if things will work out with Stroud moving forward. I think most of his issues are on the mental side of things, the confidence side of things, the poise side of things, which we talked about all season long. But it's not a sure thing that those are fixable issues. It's just not a sure thing, man. Like, this is what happens to some guys. They just never get it right mentally. They never get the confidence. They never have the mental acuity to sit there at the quarterback position and make the decisions that need to be made for the offense to function efficiently and successfully. And that's where we're at. We've seen the physical gifts. We've seen the accuracy. Accuracy was one of his strongest points, if not his strongest suit, his rookie season. Where did it go? Some of the balls he was throwing, fuck the weather, the rain, the snow, the sleet, the wintry mix, whatever you want to call it. Like, you still saw Drake May had the ability to rocket the ball around the field, not the whole game, but at times. I mean, this is wounded duck season from CJ. It was just brutal. And I feel bad for the guy. I genuinely feel bad for the guy. And he seems like a really good guy off the field. He seems like a great role model. Like, he's got a good head on his shoulders as a human being. But as we've seen with professional sports, having a good head on your shoulders as a human being does not necessarily translate to having a good head on your shoulders as a professional athlete. Arguably the greatest to ever do it in several different major professional sports are crazy people. Michael Jordan is a crazy person. That's a dude who's so competitive that he's insane. That Tiger Woods, like there's plenty of examples. Brady is a psycho. A lot of the quarterbacks to have had the most success ever in the NFL are psychos. You have to have a killer instinct and mentality and a level of confidence that's almost irrational, delusional, or downright unhealthy. I don't think CJ has those qualities. And I feel bad for him because it sucks. You could see the pain on his face, and fuck it. You saw it all season, and the body language is bad. He looks broken out there. And man, that low IQ test score pre-draft that had people worried about C.J. Stroud, which everyone discredited after his rookie season, that test is doing the Undertaker gif right now, rising from the dead, because that test score might have been right. It might have been right. We had these fucks on their heels in the first quarter, and then we surrendered all momentum. When we were up 10-7, I thought it was happening. I really started getting like the good kind of butterflies in my stomach, like I did in 2017 when the Astros started winning series in the playoffs, and I was like, holy shit, we might win a World Series. And then we did. When we were up 10-7 in this game against the Pats, with this defense, I really thought things were going to be different this time. I never, ever could have possibly imagined that C.J. Stroud would throw 3 more interceptions before halftime. That's what happened. After we were up 10-7. Truly, absolutely miserable. And yeah, there was a lot that went wrong. We had multiple O-linemen down. The O-line was getting shredded. No run game. I mean, the run game, it was just absolutely non-existent. Joe Mixon in witness protection. Woody Marks dealing with injuries, coming in and out of the game. Nick Chubb, not who he used to be. Jawar Jordan not playing for one reason or another. Dalton Schultz went down. No Nico Collins. I mean, we went from being up 10-7 to suddenly it looking like we would never score again. And everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. I mean, if the first half, we had this is the offense in the first half. 4 interceptions, 12 rushing attempts for 8 yards total. 12 rushing attempts for 8 total yards. It's not going to get it done, especially in this weather. I mean, CJ turnovers aside, I would point to the complete and utter lack of a run game as the biggest issue on the offense outside of CJ's shortcomings. Because if you can't establish the run in this kind of game, in this kind of weather, you're screwed. Kind of no matter what your quarterback does. You're going to have a really hard time. I mean, they could just stack the box and go cover 2 and there's nobody getting open. You're screwed. That's basically what happened. But the offense was abysmal in the first half. 4 INTs from CJ, 8 yards rushing. We had big drops as well. It wasn't just CJ that stunk it up offensively. Christian Kirk had a huge drop on the opening drive. Hutchinson had a drop that was intercepted. Kade Stover had a huge drop in the third quarter with nobody near him and tons of running room. Of course, this is after Dalton Schultz is out, so CJ no longer has his security blanket. And Kade Stover's out there who's played very minimally. I can't even believe it. With a minute to go in the third quarter, 1 minute to go in the third quarter, we had 14 first downs and the Patriots had 7. And we lost this fucking game 28-16. That's so sad. So sad. Even Derek Stingley looked human in this game. He had the pass interference call that was probably the correct call, but then we had a similar situation unfold when we were on offense and did not get called as pass interference. Stingley got beat by an unbelievable one-handed catch to put the Patriots up 12 after the point after. According to Field Yates, Derek Stingley Jr., when facing targets of 20-plus air yards since the start of 2024, versus Kayshon Boutte in this game, 2 targets, 2 receptions allowed, 72 yards, 2 touchdowns. And this is since 2024. Versus all other wide receivers, 34 targets, 2 receptions allowed, 86 total yards, and a touchdown. That's in 34 targets. He yielded nearly as many yards and 1 touchdown and twice as many touchdowns with just 2 targets in this game versus 34. That's everything went wrong. I've never seen Stingley look human like that. It's been a long time since I've seen Stingley look human like that. It didn't happen a single time this season. We burned 2 second-half timeouts because the play clock was an issue on key downs. Rough, terrible clock management still an issue for this coaching staff. And then we punt down 12 in the fourth quarter, which is sad. Per ESPN research, that was the second time in this century that a team has punted while down 2 scores in the final 5 minutes of a playoff game. The previous one was the Panthers in Super Bowl 50. They punted when they were down 14 points on 4th and 24 from their own 6-yard line with 2 minutes and 8 seconds left. And you have to credit our defense as always. We should spend some time harping on how good the defense was. They were unbelievable. They're so great. They were fantastic. You just have to pray to God that they can manage to even just stay near the bar they set this season when it comes to next season. In 2 playoff games, our defense allowed 13.5 points per game, 211.5 yards per game, 3.5 yards per play, 5 of 28 third down conversions. That's 17.9%. They had 9 sacks, forced 5 turnovers, scored 2 touchdowns, and we didn't even make the conference championship with that defense. It's all on the offense, man. It's all on the offense. And the Pats defense had themselves a game, obviously. 5 turnovers, pick 6, 3 sacks, less than 50 rushing yards allowed, only allowed 1 touchdown. We only scored 1 touchdown. How many times do we have to say that this season? The only other team in the NFL to ever do what the Patriots did in this playoff game since 1970 was the Bears in the Super Bowl versus the Patriots. And I don't know if it says more about our offense or their defense. Like I said, I mean, they have a good defense, top 10 defense, but certainly not near the caliber of our defense. And we made them look like they were right there with our defense because our offense was so bad. So there are so many questions for this offseason, none of which I have the answer to, really. The obvious one is CJ Stroud. You can't, next season will be the last season of his rookie contract. Typically, this is the point where you start to negotiate a contract extension. That second NFL contract for a guy that's on their rookie contract still. And obviously the Texans cannot do that. You cannot give him an extension seeing what you saw this season. And I'm not even, look, there's a lot of people that are saying, oh, yeah, these were 2 really bad playoff games. You can't extend him. I'll go much further than that. I'll argue that based on what you saw last season, especially the back half, coupled with what you saw all season long this season, tripled with what you saw in these 2 playoff games, that's why you can't extend him. I don't like pretending that it's just because of what happened over the past 2 weeks. It's not. I had questions all season long about this dude's performance, about his ability to get it done, considering how good the defense was and how we still kept ending up in so many close games, and we were so unproductive on offense. And there were so many distractions as far as like who to pin the blame on. Is it Nick Caley, the new rookie offensive coordinator who's never been an NFL offensive coordinator before? That was really easy to point at for weeks and weeks and weeks, especially through the 0-3 start. Fucking 0-3 start. Imagine if they had started strong in one, let's just say 2 of 3 of those games. Then you're looking at potentially home field. You're winning the division. You might be hosting the divisional round in the playoffs. They're just like everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. CJ Stroud is the first question mark, and it's an obvious one. And you can't extend him. If they do, that's a mistake. Now, I understand that you have to go with him next season. And anybody arguing otherwise doesn't really know what they're talking about. There's not going to be a situation where Davis Mills starts next year. Shut up. That's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. We don't need to waste time talking about it. It's not going to happen. No disrespect to Davis Mills. He's a very solid backup quarterback. He is not the answer. His job is backup quarterback for a reason. You have to roll CJ out there on the final year of his rookie contract, and you have to pray for the best. And you have to make him earn it. You have to reset the mentality for this guy. A lot has been said about how he behaved in the offseason after his rookie season. I don't necessarily like shining a lot of light on this, but especially because it's been people talked about it last year, people talked about it all season, this season. People have been running back that clip of CJ Stroud big broing Caleb Williams on his way off the field after we beat the Bears. A lot has been said about all these podcasts he went on, how he listed himself as a top 5 QB in the league, both on Instagram and on a podcast. And maybe he did get too high on himself. Maybe he got too cocky. Maybe he was overly confident. Maybe he hadn't really earned it yet, and he was acting like he had. I can't tell how much of that really messed with him, but I do know this. He's been down and out basically since Tank Dell got injured. He has never been the same guy mentally. Confidence-wise, he's never recovered. Yes, we've had issues with the offensive line, but there's only so many times you can blame the O-line. And the O-line was fantastic the back half of this season. They were really good, okay? That's a thing that happened. They came together. They gelled. We had a good offensive line. That was not an excuse. Was it good in this game? Hell no. They got absolutely fucking wrecked. There was no running game. There was very little time for CJ in the pocket. He also navigated the pocket terribly. He kept trying to throw the football with 2 dudes in his chest, in his lap, and on his back. I don't understand why you would do that. He just didn't have the feel for it. I don't know. But you can't extend him, obviously. You can't trade. There's no trade. Nobody's getting Joe Burrow to the Texans. It's not a fucking thing. Why on God's green earth would the Bengals trade with us? That's not going to happen. Stop pipe dreaming your way out of this. The reality is this is the dude for at least one more season. And if they decide to cut him loose after the final year of his rookie contract, if next season ends in disappointment that is largely falling on his shoulders like this one, that'll be that. And the Texans will have done right by CJ and given him every opportunity. But I don't know. There is nobody who can honestly say with 100% certainty they trust this cat as the quarterback. Because he hasn't proven it. It's been too long. He's never proved. We're in the same spot 3 years down the road. The same fucking outcome 3 seasons in a row. And yes, it's progress. And yes, this was a great season. And dude, I'm proud of this team on the whole. I really am. But this is the frustration and the anger and the disappointment is driven by the circumstances of having such an unbelievably good defense that we could all get behind. that we were all inspired by, that we got to watch week in and week out do what they did with almost zero speed bumps. They very rarely had issues. There was almost no weaknesses on this defense, period. They were that good. And the offense all season was just kind of ho-hum, sucked in large stretches, and Kade didn't really seem like he was knew what he was doing as a play caller. CJ fucking terrible. It just sucked. The whole thing fell apart. That's what makes it hurt so much. You can be proud of the team, love the team, still watch the team every game, no matter what. Be a good fan and still be sad here. There's a reason it feels disappointing, and the reason is because the potential was there. The opportunity was there. The road was paved. You could see it. You could see it. You think this defense was going to let a dude who's never started a playoff game in Denver, whose name I can't even remember at quarterback, beat them? No, probably the fuck not. Could have gone to the Super Bowl with this defense. We should have gone to the Super Bowl with this defense. But the offense was so bad that even in a game where the defense made Drake May shit his pants repeatedly, I think he fumbled 5 times, we still couldn't get it done. And we didn't really come close. That's the other thing. After that 10-7 lead that we took, it was all downhill from there, baby. There was never another point where you felt like there was upside, really. I mean, maybe in the second half after the Fairbairn field goal, you could convince yourself, like, we still got a chance. It's a one-score game. But then from there, really, from there, everything went terribly wrong. Nick Caley, is he the man for the job? I don't know. Not convincingly. But can you go and get another offensive coordinator? Make CJ learn a whole new system? Do you want this dude with his mentals having to learn a whole new playbook, a whole new system? Probably not. So I think they probably run Nick Caley back out there. That's what makes it so frustrating, is that we know we're going to be looking down the barrel of a similar situation next season, and it's all going to fall on CJ. And maybe the defense will be as great as they were this year. Maybe they'll be better. Maybe they'll continue to build in the offseason, and Caserio and D'Amico find another piece or two that takes this thing to a whole other level. But probably fucking not. It's very, very rare that the number one defense in the NFL is the number one defense in the NFL again the next season. But fuck it. We don't even need to be number one. Just be top 3. You should still have a chance every game, right? But we won't if the offense looks like it did this year. And it just wasn't good. And it's like, for a lot of Texans fans that I talk with about the offense that are defenders of CJ Stroud and the offense, I feel like y'all are not watching other NFL games or something. Like, you don't turn on the Bears game, which they lost, and see Caleb Williams. Like, yes, he has the turnovers, but he's also making the plays. He is utterly confident, totally believes in himself and his teammates. He's got swagger. He's got poise. He's fighting. Did you feel any of that with CJ yesterday? No. That's the biggest concern. Is you look in this dude's eyes and you don't see a winner right now, and that sucks. But in evaluating your football team, you have to have a quarterback who's a winner. That's what we thought we got with this guy. It's the thing we've been searching for as a franchise our entire existence. How many dog shit quarterbacks have we had to watch get walked down game after game after game after game? And we thought that was solved here, and now it's clearly not. And there is where the sadness comes in. Nothing really changed. It was a big dick tease, and it was a fun ride. And winning 10 games in a row was awesome. And I loved every second of it, and I'll do it again next year. I'm already ready to be hurt again. But man, if you're able to not be extremely let down and sad and disappointed and frustrated today, you're a better man than me. I love it too much, and I enjoyed it too much to not be sad and not be disappointed with the ending, because the ending was so miserable. And what the fuck happened with Joe Mixon? Is anybody going to tell us what actually happened with Joe Mixon? The internet thinks he shot himself in the foot. Not metaphorically. Literally, the internet thinks he shot himself in the foot during the offseason, and that the NFL is not able to disclose that for one reason or another. It's not being talked about. The other prevailing theory is that he had like an unlicensed medical procedure or something that went wrong. But what happened with that guy? Why is he on Twitter in the middle of the game tweeting, I wish I could be out there with the team? Fuck you, dude. Keep it quiet. If you're not going to tell us what happened, stay the hell out of here. We don't want to hear it. What the hell was that? What happened? How much better off would we have been with a healthy starting RB1? It's infuriating. And that's not CJ's fault either. There is a very strong argument to be made for all these other reasons that it's not all on CJ. Not having an RB1 is a big one. Not having Nico Collins is another. The O-line getting injured when we needed it most to stay healthy is another, obviously. The other receivers not being able to get open or maybe just them not being on the same page or not running good routes, I don't know. But there are plenty of arguments to take some of the weight off of CJ Stroud. But at the end of the day, isn't that the whole point? If the offense sucks, it's the quarterback's fault. Passing around the blame, is that getting us anywhere? When this is the dude who turned it over 5 times? I just don't. I hate the circumstances for CJ. I hate that he didn't have Joe Mixon or a running back who's worthy of the starting slot, that they couldn't get any run game going, that his offensive line was banged up, that Nico Collins, his number one option, was out, that Dalton Schultz went down. The deck could not have been stacked more against CJ, but at the end of the day, all he had to do was take care of the football and not turn the ball over. But what the hell happened to Joe Mixon? Could somebody please figure out what happened with Joe Mixon? Do we draft a running back? Do we draft interior linemen? We need both. There's a lot that needs to be done on the offensive side of the ball. Nick Caserio has his work cut out for him this offseason because they did it. They built the team on one half, the defense. And then they completely failed on the other side of the ball. And for D'Amico Ryans, I feel for him too. And by the way, I just want to say, to sprinkle in some more positivity here, the overall outlook that these gentlemen have and the culture they're building in the clubhouse is, I'm really impressed by it. I really respect it. Giving all glory to God, staying positive, recognizing that this is just a game and that there are bigger things in this world. And it's unfortunate that the season ended the way it did and they had bigger goals and aspirations. But at the end of the day, they're in this together. They're all there for each other. They don't throw anybody under the bus. They never question whether CJ is their guy, so on and so forth. I respect all that. I think that's great. Keep it going. But from a fan's standpoint, we don't want to hear all that right now. Not right now. We just don't. It's okay. Keep saying it. I'm just saying we don't want to hear it. Because it's just poof. It's just meaningless at this moment. Where we're all looking at what should have happened and instead we're left with what is. And the reality is fucking disappointingly depressing. Depressingly disappointing. It just fucking sucks, man. It sucks. This is the downside of getting so invested in a team. I had somebody on Twitter say, hey, man, you should try just being a casual sports fan with me. Get on the casual sports fan tip. That's where it's at. And that's where I used to live. But the older I get and the more attention I pay to our pro sports franchises, the Texans, the Rockets, the Astros, the more I get to know the players, the more I follow the draft process, the more I follow the coaching hunts and building out the front offices, like the more invested I get because the more I know the people and the more I feel like I'm personally invested and emotionally invested. And then when we lose, it's devastating and it sucks. It hurts. I'm getting better at carrying it than I once was, but like this was the biggest challenge in a while. The Astros won so much from 2017 to 2022 that, there's nothing that really could have happened this last few years that would have hurt. Because it's like, I don't know, we've had it so good. How could you complain? I can't really. Especially given what we see here. It's that 0-7 all-time in the divisional round. It's that 0 conference championship appearances that make us the only team in the NFL with such circumstances. That's the shit that really gets you. Because you're like, maybe this is it. Maybe this time is different. Maybe this is our year. You talk yourself into it, which I did. You talk your shit, which I did. My mentions are filled with Pats fans, these miserable pricks. It took 5 years off. They're back in a conference championship, and they think they can talk shit again. What a bunch of losers. Hate these fuckers. But we were right there. We were right there. We were right there. We had the defense. One like we may never see again. That's really possible. And it all came down to not protecting the football on offense and all these injuries. And it felt so Texans, Nobody's surprised. The rest of the world will move on from talking about the Texans in a heartbeat. Bleep, we're gone. They go back to focusing on franchises with a history of winning like the Patriots, like the Rams, you know? When we just get left in the dust, like the Seahawks. And I don't know if we would have beat the Seahawks, just for the record. They look really, really good. But that would have been one hell of a fun Super Bowl that I'll continue to play out in my head in the coming days as I try to shift my mentality to basketball season. But yeah, a lot of questions. We'll see what they do. My predictions, they roll CJ back out there on his rookie deal. They do not extend him. They roll Nick Caley back out there. They're certainly not going to change anything as far as Popovich as the online coach, I don't think, is going to change. Casario's not going to be let go or anything like that. I would be shocked by any sweeping changes in the front office. DeMeco Ryans seems like he's built some job security here. And if you look at things big picture, this is another element. Last thing, when you look at things big picture for this team, this has been a very successful 3 years for this franchise. It hasn't ended with what they wanted it to end with, but it's been a very inarguably successful and positive 3 years for this franchise. The problem is it feels like they've hit their ceiling again. And this happened at a different point in Texans franchise history. For those of you who are longtime fans and who remember, in the Gary Kubiak era with Matt Schaub, a similar thing happened. Now, we didn't have the generational defense that we had this season, so it wasn't quite as brutally much of a letdown when the season ended. But we won 12 games. We won 9 in a row or whatever. We looked like we had a legitimate shot in the AFC, and then we got the shit beat out of us in the playoffs by a real contender. And it was like, oh, we hit our ceiling. And there was a few-year stretch where it was like, oh, we can't get over this hump. Oh, we can't get over this. Like, we're stuck right here. And that's what it feels like. This 3 years have all ended with one playoff win each in the wild card round, and then a divisional loss by a team that looks like a more legitimate, complete football team. And that Patriots undoubtedly looked like a more complete, well-coached professional football team because their offense didn't look like an abortion, an aborted football fetus. That's what the Texans' offense looked like. So it's that feeling of familiarity of like, well, this is as high as the Texans are allowed to go, that really grinds my gears on another level. So that was it. Another season, another devastating, heartbreaking loss to close things out. It's going to be a fascinating offseason to see if this front office and DeMeco Ryans can build to get things going and see if they can get to that next level. It still feels like this is the best shot we've ever had of getting to that next level. You know, you give Will Anderson every single penny. That's another thing that has to happen this offseason. Extend Will Anderson Jr. now. Give him every single dollar that was going to go to C.J. Stroud's extension. Give it to him. Make him the highest paid defensive player in football. Lock him in. That guy can't leave. I think you have to get Danielle Hunter back. I'm pretty confident his contract is over, or he's on a player option or a team option or something. I think you have to do something with him. You need that guy back. If you could bring back every single defensive player from this season, do it. I know that's not likely. Then fill in the gaps and get even better. If they can come back out and have close to as good of a defense as we had this year, which I do believe is possible with DeMeco Ryans and Matt Burke and the personnel that we do have locked in, and Nick Casario's ability to find the defensive talent that fits into DeMeco's system. I believe we have a chance to have a very good defense again next season. But you've got to go fill the holes in the offense. You've got to get the offense fixed. And the next season will be a pivotal season for this franchise. Because if your offense can get over the hump and play well, then maybe you've got some upside. Maybe the ceiling gets raised. But if they can't, and we see what we saw this year, that's when heads are going to start to roll, and we're right back where we were 3 years ago before DeMeco Ryans got hired. We've got new episodes dropping weekly on youtube.com/@bangingthecan. We're also on the podcast platforms. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, like, turn on notifications so you know every time we drop a new episode, and leave us a comment in the comment section. Tell me what you saw. Tell me what you want to see this offseason from this team. Tell me how devastated you are. Tell me how devastated you aren't, and try to talk us up. Give us some positivity. Comment section. If you're on Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star rating and write a quick review about why you like our show. On that note, please share the most unapologetic sports show in existence with your friends and family. It's been a blast riding with y'all all Texans season long. I really appreciate each and every one of you that has tuned in. I hope that you'll continue to tell people about our show so that we can continue to grow. Just for the record, again, this NFL season, I did this for free. I'm not getting paid for this, and I need to because I'm 38 and have 2 kids. The more you can tell people about it, the more we can grow the show, the higher the likelihood that I'll be able to monetize it eventually. Please follow us on social media at Banging the Can on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. I'm Ross Bolen. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at WRBolen. Oh, man. I'll be back Friday to talk Rockets, who have been pretty disappointing over the last month as well, but they got a win last night. That was nice, even though Steven Adams went down, but it looks like it's only an ankle situation. He won't be out for the season, so that's good. Turn those notifications on, YouTube subscribers. Until next time, H-Town, stay down.